Hola mi gente, attorney Francisco Gutierrez here. I grew up in the Barrio. I've been practicing personal injury law since 1984. Experience makes a difference in the outcome of your case. As your neighbor, I've represented many families throughout the barrios of Arizona. If you've been injured by someone, why would you call a stranger? Give me a call. My staff and I will treat you like familia.
Welcome to this episode of Arizona Barrios Stories. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We want your story. Don't wait on somebody else telling your story. You need to tell your story. Today, we have a special guest bringing us a special heartfelt story. Would you please introduce yourself?
My name is Felice Gomez.
And Felice, tell everybody, where did you grow up and what schools did you attend?
I grew up on the east and south side of Phoenix, and I attended schools in the Creighton School District and in the Roosevelt School District.
And high school?
I went to Candleback and I went to South.
After high school, take me on a little bit of a journey. What was life like in your teens and 20s, and what went on during that time period?
I had kids, got married. I worked. I did medical and dental billing, and I did get divorced, and then I joined the service.
And what prompted you to do that? I mean, it's not very often that we find somebody after they've worked so many jobs that they end up joining. How did that happen?
So I actually took my first ASVAB test when I was 19. And military said you have to give up custody of your son, and I did have a son. And I was like, no, not giving up my son. So I didn't go in. And then later on in life, I ended up talking to my cousin who was a recruiter. And he says, I was 38. He goes, you can go ahead and go into the service. The cutoff age was 42. I was 38, so I was like, okay, we could do this. I enlisted in the service at 38, and during basic training, I called back home, and he said they changed the cutoff age to 35, but since you were in already, that you were good. So I was in the service.
So at age 38, what obstacles did you have going in? I mean, was it easy peasy or was it hard?
Oh no, it was hard. Having to keep up with people who were the same age as your children, because everybody coming in was the same age as my children. My son was already in the service. He was in a year before me. So these kids coming in were fresh out of high school. They were younger. I was having to run with them, do ruck marches, 7-10 miles, and I was not used to it. I did not play sports. I didn't run, and I was having to do everything they were doing.
Now, did they treat you differently?
No, you have to do everything that they do. Obviously, our PT test is different because we don't have to do as much as they do, because it's age appropriate for different ages. So it is modified a little, but when you're doing training, you still train like everybody else, which is good because then it prepares you. So when you do your PT test, you are able to pass it. But it was good. It helped me pass everything when I did have to do my test, but it was hard. It wasn't easy.
Now, what tours did you end up doing?
I did one tour to Afghanistan in 2012. It was a 9-month tour.
And when you got home, or rather after your tour, did you do some more months, or was your career over by then, or what happened?
I did, I signed up for 6 years. So when I came home, I still had 2 more years to do. And when I came home, I was a grandmother. So my daughter had a baby right before I deployed. And at that point, after the 2 more years after my deployment, I decided not to re-enlist because my kids were having kids. And I decided not to be gone, because when I came home, my grandson did not know who I was, and I really missed that. And I was sad because, you know, to leave that long and then come home and he didn't know me, that was hard.
Once your 6 years were up, what did you do then? What hit you in the head and thought, oh, this is what I want to do next?
I came home and I liked what I did at the military. My job, my MOS, was 12 November. It's a heavy construction equipment operator. So I build roads, and I loved it. So when I came home, I still did it. I went to school on the civilian side for it, and I did the same kind of work. I built roads, operated heavy equipment on the civilian side, and I enjoyed it. It was still fun, and it was something that I loved to do. Just the military did take a toll. My hips and my knees and my feet were bad. So I had to stop doing it.
Now, we had talked off camera, you do a lot of volunteer work now. Tell us about your volunteer work that you're doing with vets.
So Bells of Liberty, it's a pinup group, and we raise money for veterans and veteran organizations, nonprofit. So I love it. Anything I can do to help veterans, advocating for them, talking to them about applying for their benefits, letting them know that there are opportunities out there, housing, anything that we can do to get them what they need, support systems. You know, this is what we need to do for our veterans. If we do not help them, we're leaving them behind, and we need to be there for them. It is our duty as veterans to help support each other.
Earlier, we were talking with Jose Andres Giron, and he had mentioned there's a lot of people out there that are vets, but they don't feel, I don't know if it's not, the word is worthy, but they feel that they don't need the benefits. What would you say to somebody that would say, oh, I don't need the benefit?
I would say start it. Start the paperwork, even if it's just for a little bit. 10%, 20%, just to start the paperwork. Because once you start it, it's easier at the final outcome. So maybe you aren't able to work just a little bit. It would help you get your foot in the door, so that way later on when you cannot work at all, you already have the benefits there started. And when you're applying for all of it and you're going for your 100% because you cannot work at all, because your disability is hindering you from working, you at least have some of the process. You already know what you have to do. There are people there to help you apply for the benefits. They have agencies that will help you, and it makes it easier. You know that there's not a hard obstacle, and it's good for you to know that there are people in your corner that will go ahead and do this stuff for you.
What if there's somebody watching this and they're kind of hesitant? Can they reach out to you?
Yes, they can, definitely. Contact me on Facebook. I have no problem giving out my phone number, email. I will pick up people and take them where they need to go. I will give them resources. I will give them agencies that will help them apply for benefits. I will even take them to go and apply. There are definitely a lot of resources that are out there.
Take yourself back to age 38-ish. What do you think your life would have been like? I know it's hard to predict if you hadn't done this.
If I did not do this, at that point, I was struggling for jobs, and it was hard. So not being able to find a job, I was thinking, where am I going to live? How am I going to support my kids? Because I did have 2 kids that were under 18 and I still had to take care of them. This was a family decision that we had to make, and we all sat down together and talking about this.
And where did your kids end up when you ended up being in the service? Where did your kids go?
So they didn't want to go back to their dad's house, so I left them with their cousin, and my cousin took care of them, and I would call home periodically and check on them. My cousin was, she had all my finances, and she would take care of them. She had access to all my money. If she took a vacation, she had access to pay for hotel rooms, to pay for their half of the vacation. If they needed clothes or shoes, she was paying for it out of my bank account. So she had everything that I had, and she did an awesome job for them.
Kudos to her.
Definitely.
What values do you think the military gave you, or not values, but what extra skills do you think they gave you to help you where you are today?
The discipline. That when something is told to do, you do it right then and there, not when you want to do it. You do it when you're told to do it, and I love it. So when something has to be done, it's done right then and there because it needs to be done, and not when you're ready to.
Now, is that a skill that you're passing on to your grandchildren?
Yes. When I say do something, it's do it now, not when you want to.
You also do crafting. You mentioned crafting, and you mentioned foster.
Yes. So I do work volunteer at Arizona's for Children. I supervise visits for children that are in foster homes. They will be transitioning back to their parents. Very few of them will be adopted out to family members or other people, but majority of them will be going back home, which is good. We take donations of clothes there. We wash the clothes. This way the kids will have clothes whenever the parents need. The adults sometimes need clothes. And then also we do cleaning up around there, but it's good.
I want to thank you for visiting us today. Thank you for sharing part of your story, and maybe there's somebody out there that will reach out to you. Thank you for visiting us on Arizona Barrio Stories.
Thank you to Irma.
She is a voice for the voiceless. Maybe you are struggling, maybe you're a vet, and maybe you haven't applied for any benefits, or maybe you're just a little bit lost. Reach out to Felice. She will listen to you and she will help you. And not only that, everybody has a story. Don't let anybody tell your story. You need to tell your story. From Arizona Barrio Stories, this is Irma and the crew. We want to hear from you. Thank you for viewing today.
Hello, my name is David Adame, President and CEO of Chicanos por la Causa. Today, I would like to announce our brand new exciting partnership with Arizona Barrio Stories. Arizona Barrio Stories is a key part of our community and in line with what we believe in, restoring Chicano history and making sure that we continue to celebrate Mexican traditions, history, family, and culture. Arizona Barrio Stories will play an important role in bringing you important stories about Chicanos por la Causa and the founders who helped build Chicanos por la Causa, but also other key important stories about our Chicano community here in Arizona. We look forward to a wonderful partnership, and thank you for your continued support.